Alright, so the big news dropped that Square Enix had trademarked the names The First Soldier and Ever Crisis for Final Fantasy VII Remake's continuation. Final Fantasy's World of Final Fantasy VII, whatever we're going to be calling this thing going forward. I've got two ideas. The first one I want to share solely in this video is the prospect and the possibility of what the First Soldier might be, as far as like whether it might be a game DLC, a standalone spin-off game, or some sort of CG movie like a Kingsglaive or something like that. I really this is the one I'm excited. I'm really excited about the prospect of this. But it could be something total. It could be the beginning of Shinra. I mean, it could be anything, right? But let's assume for the time being that this is about the origin story. This is the Sephiroth origin story. Everything from the main thing it needs to cover is the war in Wutai. The Wutai War is what it needs to cover. Shinra unleashing its secret weapon in Sephiroth on Wutai to tip the scales, tip the balance of the war in the favor of Shinra, right? So I hope it goes into some old stuff, right? I think if it's the life story of Sephiroth, okay, if it's his life story, there's a couple of things we're going to see. Him as a child, maybe some flashbacks between his mother, Lucretia, and Hojo, and them talking. We might even see Vincent as a Turk, right, before he's put down because of the history with him and Lucretia. There's all those fan theories that are out there about, you know, Vincent secretly being Sephiroth's father, which I don't think that's going to be the case. But I think we could see a cameo of Turk's Vincent in there. This world is so huge and so massive, and the characters are so good. And they're interwoven so well. The interplay with all the characters, especially in Remake, was so well done. It really makes you excited and puts the hype level through the roof for what this First Soldier could be. So if we're going into his backstory, we see a little bit of what his childhood's like. We see a little bit of like his time, you know, being experimented on, all this kind of stuff. Now, this won't be gameplay stuff, right? This would be just story, narrative type stuff. Even background, you know, just like quick little 15 to 30 second flashback scene or something like that. If it's a game, DLC for this game, or I'm leaning toward it not being DLC. I think it's either going to be a spin-off or a CG movie. Either way, these elements can work in certain ways. I want to see a little bit of that. I want to see the beginning of the Wutai War. What started it exactly? What was the exact moment and thing that triggered the war, right? And Sephiroth being dropped as before he's the big war hero. Like, just he's a soldier, he's leading the troops, he's got the Masamune, you know, he's dressed like he looks like Sephiroth, right? But he's storming, you know, whatever, Wutai, the beaches or whatever, with the Shinra soldiers behind him. Him using all this powerful magic from the materia and all these things. I would love for it to build. And I've always said this. I have said this for years when people talk to me about what is the one thing in Final Fantasy VII I would love to see that they've never shown us. The one thing I've always wanted to see was Sephiroth and Godo just going at it, like having some badass samurai dual sword fight. Godo is a badass. Yuffie's father is a badass. Master Godo is a badass. I want to see him and Sephiroth, you know, just having just a badass sword fight, using materia at each other. I want to see that. Right? I don't think the First Soldier will cover the Nibelheim incident. I don't, because we've seen it. We don't necessarily have to play it, right? I don't think it's going to cover that. We don't have to necessarily see it. They did Last Order Final Fantasy VII, the anime, the brilliant anime produced, I think it was Was it Bones or Aniplex? I can't remember. I'd have to look it up. Madhouse. I think Madhouse. It was Madhouse. But that was excellent. If you've never seen that, YouTube that for sure. I think there's an English dub if you're not into subtitles. But the war with Wutai is what the meat of this thing needs to be. The heart and soul, the guts, the bones, the muscles, the tendons, everything of this monster needs to be mainly the war with Wutai. Sephiroth is a good guy. Sephiroth is a hero doing hero stuff, man. Doing hero stuff. Like, I can't even stress how awesome that would be. Now, as far as like Crisis Core characters that could be in it, if you're dealing with the war with Wutai, I don't think a lot of them. I think Angeal was in Soldier before Genesis. The two of them may have been candidates, like third class or something like that. But it was Sephiroth's like heroics in the Wutai War that made Genesis want to join Soldier. So there's a lot of Crisis Core stuff they need to clear up, right? There's a lot of, if they're going to be going this route, there's a lot of areas in that story that need to be cleaned up. And I think this reset could be the reason why they're doing this kind of hard reset, and maybe telling a story with all the elements that they've injected since the original Final Fantasy VII. Who knows? But as far as this goes, this could be money. This could be money. This could be amazing. This is the story I've always... If they do the Wutai War, this is the story I've always wanted to see. This is the story that I've always wanted to see them do. And that's why I'm so hyped for this. I would love to know more details. Right now, all we have is a trademark claim. That's all we have. But I feel like if they're trademarking that name, just that name, I feel like, and Ever Crisis, right? That's two things. If they're trademarking those two things, they've probably been working on what they want the titles of these things to be and narrowed it down to these two things, right? A lot of times in marketing and marketing firms, that's how it works. Because trademarking stuff worldwide costs a lot of money. And you don't want to just... Now, if you're doing a nationwide copyright, I don't know how that works in Japan. If you're doing a nationwide trademark, that'd be a copyright. Anyway, I'm not going to get into all that. That's a lot of legal stuff to talk about, and that's boring. But it costs a lot of money to do a worldwide trademark for your stuff, and that's not money companies just want to throw around. I've seen a couple of people say, well, these two trademarks could be for one thing, and they just want to trademark both names. No, I don't think so. Because they would narrow it down to the one thing. They don't want to spend money, double the money, if you don't have to, right? Square Enix is not about blowing money. They're about making money. So I'm really excited about what the first Soldier, what I think it's going to be. War with Wutai. You can get into Nibelheim. You can get into the fallout of the Wutai War. But then I think after you have your fight with Godo and you win the war, I don't see it getting any higher for Hero Sephiroth at that point. That's the pinnacle. That is what makes Sephiroth Sephiroth. That's what made him world famous, was winning the war, being the difference, the great hero of the world in the Wutai War, the great hero of Shinra. That's the pinnacle for him. Then he just kind of stays, he plateaus. There's not really anything else for him to do. He probably does some cleanup stuff. He probably does kill some monsters and stuff like that. Saves a couple of villages or something. And then Nibelheim happens. Then he gets the Nibelheim assignment. And then it all goes to hell. I think that's where this first Soldier game is going. Whether it's a spin-off, a DLC, or like I said, like a CG movie, that remains to be seen. But the main elements that I just discussed there, I hope that's what it is. I really hope that's what it is. You all, this is the story I've always wanted to see. I mean, like, I've always been so stoked. I love Crisis Core because you get to see Hero Sephiroth. Sephiroth, when he was a hero, he talks differently, he acts differently. It's like seeing Sephiroth trying to be one of the guys, trying to be one of the boys or whatever, you know. It's like, it's really cool to see him talking to Zack, talking to his soldiers, talking like just a regular person, and not pontificating death and destruction, which is dope. But it's fun seeing Sephiroth as that character in that environment. And you all, we could be getting like a whole project of that. Just take my money. Just take my money. And I don't have a lot of money to give, but just take it. Whatever I got. I got a penny jar over here. I'll just dump it on your desk, Square Enix. Let's dump it out. You all, hype train's leaving the station again. I think we're gonna start getting news on this stuff this spring. Final Fantasy 16, of course. That's gonna be awesome. Can't wait to see more. Can't wait to see more of this. Leave your comments. Let me know what you all think. Are you all excited? Are you hyped? Could you care less? I don't know. I mean, this is a place for y'all to share your opinions and your thoughts and your hype. I can't wait. You all keep rocking. Have a great night. Be safe. Throw a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I appreciate every one of you all. Appreciate the hell out of you all. Building this community up. Building this channel up. Y'all have a great night, and I will see you all very, very soon. Take care.